Hey guys, yes, just a quick hot take about the Springboks game against the Wallabies in Sydney. What a victory, what a win, what a dominant performance. One of those games that you really think the Boks have really, could have probably put them away by more. And I think that's probably one of the things we still, as South Africans, need to learn. There was a lot of chances created again. They were a lot better. The intensity started well. I think if you look at that performance, it's easy to still find some fault though, whether that's fair or not. I suppose a win is a win at the end of the day, and the way it comes, it doesn't really matter. So let's start at the beginning. The Boks started well. There was that physical intensity from the start of the game, which was something totally different that we, from last week in Adelaide. They already were good on the ball straight away. They didn't let Australia out of their half. Of course, they scored early through great work by Damien de Lende and some great work by Damien Willemse. And then they let the Aussies almost off the hook. It almost felt like they couldn't land that knockout blow. And I think there was a couple of occasions, I think the SuperSport panel showed it once or twice, where they had overlaps and they kicked. It's a decision making, and it's the same what happened last week. They still got to work on that. There's a lot to work on there. Just using those opportunities better. But what they did do well is that in that second half, they let the ball do the work. And I think that if they did that in the first half, they probably would have won by a lot larger scoreline than the 24-8 that they did win. So there's still a lot of work to be done on attack. I thought our physicality was exceptional. I thought the one thing though that did irritate me a bit was that the Wallabies still got away with a lot of their sort of niggling tactics. You saw a lot of their game plan is sort of based upon using a lot of those little tactics, like when you get a penalty against them, kick the ball a little bit away or drop it or walk away with it, or just frustrate the opposition. And it's those little things that the Boks were really angry on the day. They really looked like they were a side that was intent on making a statement and putting the other team away, and I think those things frustrated the Boks a lot. I thought Ben O'Keefe had a very good game. I thought he's better a long way. There's not all the decisions I agreed with him with. I felt he could have been a bit stricter in terms of both the Boks and the Wallabies in terms of when they gave away strings of penalties. He gave one yellow card. I think the Wallabies used gamesmanship quite well to see out those 10 minutes, and he was consistent at least in what he did, and I think that's all you can hope for. And that's the one thing about Ben O'Keefe. You saw in the second test against the Lions, he's a referee for a bigger occasion, and I think it was a lot better than what we saw last week in terms of that. Of course, I suppose it looks a lot better when the Springboks are winning, so it's easy to say that. But I think he controlled the game well, and my only real criticism of him was that he could have probably had all the niggly stuff sorted it out a lot quicker, because I thought that was the one thing that sort of boiled over in that second half and led to that sort of fracas that we saw. There's a couple of things to take out of that, but still in the first half I thought the Boks should have been a lot more clinical in putting the Wallabies away. The Wallabies didn't really offer much. I thought the Boks were really good on keeping the Wallabies pinned down in their own half. And it was only really the Springboks' own mistakes that sort of kept the Wallabies in the game in that first half. That until the most amazing try by Kane and Moody. And a lot of people ask why we kick. That's why we kick, when you get the ball back. And in that sort of fashion, it can lead to a try very quickly. And what a moment for Kane and Moody. It was really exceptional. Let's just have a look at it again.
To the left! No. 60 seconds coming up here, with South Africa seemingly having all the play, and they might have an extension of the lead. They will! Oh, what a start from the debutant Cannon Moody. Wow!
Yeah, that sums it up, Shawnee. Wow, what an effort from this young man, the new man.
Then we look at the second half performance, and I think the Boks sort of put the hammer down in the second half. I think there's a couple of things to say. I mean, Sia Kolisi was exceptional on the day. The amount of turnovers he provided, and just keeping the ball in there for Franco Most's try, where the ball was about to go out, and he kept it in and led to Franco's try.
To Kitchoff, who slings it infield to Kolisi. Great handling from the captain, keeps it alive for Willemse. This is Mapimpi. Long run of play this. Shuffled on by Etzebeth for Marks. Hendricks are calling for runners and getting it through Visa to Allende. Lovely hands from South Africa. Mostert!
Well, that has really escalated in terms of speed, in terms of skill, and that's an unbelievable passage of play at the end.
Now, if you watch that moment again, that was a perfect example of letting the ball do the work. He had some great sort of runs in there to draw defenders, and then when the ball went out wide, it was quick hands, a lot of short passes, and let the ball do the work, let the overlap work for you. So that was a very nice try. And I think the other thing is, if you look at that wonderful pass by Damien Willemse Damien Delenda to Willie Leroux, it was really that sort of set up the try. And well done to Willie, who's a master at sort of drawing players and putting Makazole and Mapimpi away. You could see Mapimpi's joy in sort of scoring that try against Korobeti, especially after what happened last week. And the fact that there's been such a disagreement about, and the Aussies have milked it the whole week about how that was the best cover tackle ever from Korobeti, and even refs and people that I really enjoy, a guy like Nigel Owens came out and said that he would have given that as a yellow card because that was a shoulder charge. I made a video earlier, I got a lot of flack for it, for a lot from down under, sort of flack. But it's just the one-eyed fans at times. I still think that was a shoulder charge, and I was quite a poignant moment for me when Mapimpi sort of got in there at the corner with Korobeti, who almost went in with a shoulder charge again. I mean, he didn't make an attempt to wrap, but he wasn't going to get to him as well. So, and I think the little hand in the face was just a bit of so take that, mate. That sort of exploded into fracas, and then we saw players come in. I didn't quite think Mapimpi should have got a yellow card for that. I thought it was, it was a bit of one of those things that happen. But I think Ben O'Keefe had probably had enough by then. Interesting, but you see how fired up Makazole was before that game. Just have to look at this clip here.
Offside. Oh, yeah, shut up. No, not. Shut up.
Shut up! Shut up!
There were a number of players who in that clip, Mapimpi is telling him to shut up, Nick White. And there was a number of players who had a go at Nick White during the game. He's obviously not the most liked player in the Australian team. He's obviously a player that a lot of players feel sort of got away with murder with that yellow card last week and should have actually been penalised himself. He's got to live with that, and he's never going to be. I've seen a lot of criticism of Nick White over the week, and from Australians, from Englishmen, from everywhere around the world. And I think he's sort of, as John Smith put it, a bit of rugby soul died when he did that. So I think Nick White is a scrum half. They're always going to be like that. But I think it was great to see the Boks sort of not sort of falling for his tactics so much anymore. There was a lot of frustration, and that's where I felt that Ben O'Keefe could have probably stepped in earlier. But it is what it is now. It is, the game is in the past. And the Boks, at least, in these situations, like I said in last week's hot take, is that you'd expect the world champions to be a lot better than that, to come out on top anyway, to find a way of winning, because that's what good teams would do. I think with the amount of chances we had in that game, if you talk about, I won't say the All Blacks now, but even the All Blacks on the same day, and the All Blacks of old would have put Australia away by 50 if they played like that, and they had that sort of dominance, and that's something that the Boks need to work towards. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come quickly, but it's one of those things that they have to work towards. And the other big moment for me was Evan Etzebeth, quite a brave man, Alan Alateur. I'd be very surprised if we don't see some sort of talk about the eye gouge, scratching his eye, Evan Etzebeth's eyes. But Evan was livid, and very brave man to take on Evan Etzebeth like that. Those eyes. I think if we put him as our Minister of Police, he'd probably scare the hell out of criminals, and we'd have a lot less crime. But Evan is an enforcer, and the one lovely thing about Evan is that his disciplinary record is exceptional. It's not like Bucky's, and I mean Bucky's was a great enforcer, but every now and again Bucky's went strayed off the path, and sort of did something that got him a ban. Evan hasn't been like that. He's been a lot better in terms of controlling his anger and that. And I was quite surprised. I thought at that moment that Ben O'Keefe was probably going to card both Evan and Alan Alateur for that. I was quite surprised he didn't. I think that I could have probably seen them getting more yellow card than I thought Makazole deserved to get. But saying that, I mean, it it sort of settled the game. They try and made sure of the bonus point. The bonus point is going to be exceptionally important going ahead. The Wallabies have now got to travel to New Zealand, so you'd probably say New Zealand would be favourites, especially on the form they had in that second game against Australia. And the Boks now have to win in Argentina, which is no easy feat if we saw what they did to Australia. The Boks have got to come up and go win in Argentina, and then that Durban game could be the decider for the Rugby Championship. And I think it's actually absolutely wonderful that we've got a Rugby Championship that is this competitive at the moment. Just a few shout-outs to players who played exceptionally well. Sia Khaleesi was by far the best player for me. I thought he had a great game last weekend. Some people disagreed. I think this weekend there's no debate about his form. I think, in fact, the tight five were exceptional. I thought Jasper Visser had a very dominant game. He made meters whenever he got the ball, and that was really good to see. Jaden Hendrickse has clearly, I think, taken the front seat there, and Faf's got to do a bit of fighting to get back into the team. I know Faf's got more experience, but I think Jaden's playing exceptionally well. Damien Willemse was great. Maybe not so good on the tee, but the way he controlled the game, the way he asked questions of the Australian defence, I thought that was very good. Damien and Jesse were good as a centre pairing. I thought the wings were exceptional. Kane and Moody again. Just Kane and Moody. Just say his name a lot more. And yeah, you can understand why he's seen as a guy that's going to play 100 tests for South Africa. On that form in his debut test, that was amazing. And then Willie Leroux, I mean, the old stalwart. I mean, it showed just his sort of stepping up to the plate. The Boks really stepped up to the plate, yeah. It's unfortunate that it had to wait till to this situation to get that way. But as Jacques Nienaber said afterwards, is that they're searching for continuity. But they've used 32 players. Listen to what he says here, and then you can make up your own minds. But as he points out, they have used a lot of players in this rugby championship, so it's not like they're not giving guys chances. It's just maybe for the public they're not giving certain of their favourites chances. But this is what Jacques said about that. So have a listen.
Yeah, yes, we obviously always want to produce a performance that we are proud of, and I'm not saying we weren't proud, but we weren't proud with how we started and the intensity we started last week. We felt we could have done better, and we obviously have a lot of internal pressure on ourselves, in trying to get things right. Like I've mentioned in the past, we're quite transparent with the players, so they know what the plan is, and like I've mentioned now, we've used 32 players in the last 4 games, and I know sometimes that goes with a little bit of risk, but we need some answers, and the players know, and I think the players were just up. Not that they weren't up for it last week. I think our preparation was good this week. We had a good week in terms of that.
Just lastly, where to now from the Boks? Well, I think continuity is the key. I think that's what they need to find, and I think that they need to find a way of being more consistent and getting this sort of performance every single week. It's not going to be easy. International rugby, the margins are so small, and you fall off your game just a little. That'll be a big thing. But I think this is a game that makes them believe. It's another sort of thing that they've sort of counted. They've ended a losing streak in Australia, and it's going to count huge for them. And I think it's a part of their game that's really done well. They've come to Australia. They've been tested. They went under the cosh. They lost the game. They probably could have won and should have won, and they sort of turned it around in a week with injuries to some key players. So that, I think, is a huge thing. I think it's massive for the Boks. Now the test comes consistency. They're going to Argentina. They need to win there, and like Sia said here as well. I mean, that's the key for them now.
That's the ultimate thing that all teams look for. That's what we're looking for as a team, is to make sure that we're consistent every week, and that's why we work so hard and do so much detailed work and training on the field. And like I said last week, You know, there was nothing different to our performance, like on our game plan or anything like that. It's just that we took the opportunities we created today, and that's what we want to do each and every single time. It will make our job so much easier. You know, not to have to fight back the whole time. You know, but the fact that we can create those kind of opportunities is encouraging, and the fact that we could finish today was really good for us as a team, and it's also a good reminder that we can do it going forward. You know, we must just keep on doing them. That's all we want. It's just being consistent in taking the opportunities once we create them.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. That was a great morning or great afternoon to watch some rugby. There's really nice to see the Boks play that way again. It makes no secret. I mean, I'm from South Africa. Obviously, I hope the Boks win. But yeah, there is a lot of work for them going ahead. Yeah, and I think we'll be talking about a lot more how they're going to address that, how they're going to address some of the changes in their squad going to Argentina. Keep posted for those videos, and we'll see. We'll keep you updated with that. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to the channel. It always helps, and leave your comments below. It's always interesting reading your comments. Often there's stuff that I may have missed or haven't picked up that comes out in those comments. So that's always good to see, and thank you for watching again. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, keep watching. Thanks, man. And yeah, great to see a Bok win on the Saturday. Cheers.